Hi everyone, it's Oliver Harper here and welcome to the latest LaserDisc Pickups video. I've not done one of these since before Christmas. I have 6 new titles to add to my collection, some from the UK and some from Japan. The first one to show you guys is The Exorcist from 1973. This is the 25th anniversary collection, so do the math. This is from 1998. This also came out on DVD. This is the remastered version. It includes a new Dolby Digital 5.1 surround track, and it includes trailers and Mark Commode's documentary called The Fear of God, the 25 years of The Exorcist. Now this is the edited version, which doesn't include Mark Commode in it. If you go on the BBC iPlayer, you can see the complete version where Mark's talking to camera and sort of basically appears doing kind of sections of the documentary to sort of go on to the next chapter. But he's all cut out. So this version I believe was also ported onto the DVD, so over the years I think that has been released uncut maybe. The original version I saw was actually on TV when it was broadcast, but now you can see it's archived on BBC iPlayer. Strangely enough, with this being a remaster, I did collect some of the old Widescreen Review magazines. Now Widescreen Review in the 90s was the best way to get your information on home cinema equipment and reading the latest reviews on LaserDisc. And that magazine, I believe, gave this about 2.5 out of 5 for picture quality. I thought I was quite happy with the picture. I didn't think it was that bad. I think it's a nice transfer. I'm not sure if William Friedkin had altered some of the colours for this new special edition, but I do know he had changed the picture for the 4K remaster before he had passed away, I believe. So I did see some comparisons. People have been upset with how the picture had changed. Again, using the old teal effect. But this one, I believe, is kind of more closer to the original version released in 1973. So if you're a bit of a purist, you may prefer the older LaserDisc or DVDs. But yeah, very happy to get hold of this. Horror on LaserDisc is always a bit pricey. I don't know why. I think with LaserDisc and horror, it just seems to be like everyone seems to want to buy all the horror films on the format, which is kind of strange because a lot of the sequels for like Friday the 13th, Elm Street and so forth, are all kind of pan and scan and not the best transfers. But people just love the covers, I think, really. I think that people like to complete their collection and have all the formats. But The Exorcist is not overly priced. It's quite cheap to get hold of. You may have to pay like 15 or 20 pounds perhaps, but if someone's selling it for 60 pounds, it's not worth it. I mean, I think there are quite a few number of copies of this was produced, so it's not something that's really rare, but also it's horror and it's LaserDisc, people seem to want to grab it. But yeah, I'm very happy to have this in my collection. It's a very good film. I suppose I was slightly hyped about it when it came out, because I believe this was banned for a number of years in the UK because the BBFC thought it was terrifying, no one could watch it. But I did eventually see it when it came out, and I didn't think it was that scary. And I know it's Mark Commode's favourite movie. My mum had seen it in 1973 and was terrified by it. But by that point, you'd seen so many other horror films. This was somewhat quite tame by modern standards, but it still is an effective horror, and it's so well made that I don't really care if it's not that scary. I just think it's a wonderful story and really well performed and directed. It is a masterpiece of the 70s. Next up is Heart of Darkness, the making of Apocalypse Now, released in 1991 on VHS and of course LaserDisc. This was directed by Eleanor Coppola, Francis Ford Coppola's wife. She had filmed most of the behind the scenes material I think they shot for 238 days, and she'd recorded private conversations with her husband behind the scenes. So you get to see Francis basically lose his mind trying to make this movie and the stress of making it and all that stuff. Yeah, fascinating stuff. I do really like Apocalypse Now. I've not seen the theatrical cut for a long time, which I had on LaserDisc, which then I think I gave to a friend years ago. And now I've got the 4K version, which is another edit. These are multiple edits of the movie. I think most people prefer the theatrical cut, but I can't. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, it's an extremely well-made film, and I've only seen about half of this, and it's very fascinating so far. Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert said it was the best film of 1991. I don't know. Maybe Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves is the best film of 91. There's loads of great films from that year. But yeah, good to see a good endorsement from Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert. But yeah, I got this for a couple of pounds. Popped up on eBay, rarely see it, went, I'm having that. But yeah, very nice to have. Up next is Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke, released in 1978 and came to widescreen Laserdisc in 1995. Includes a mono soundtrack, no extras, no trailer, just in widescreen. I saw this in the early 2000s when me and my friends were smoking a lot of wacky tobacco. My dad would always say, "Oliver, are you smoking those funny cigarettes again?" So yeah, Paramount had put this out on DVD, remastered it, 16:9. There was a 5.1 soundtrack, I think, and a bunch of extras. I never knew of Cheech and Chong. I had seen them on South Park as sort of cameo characters, but I was very much unaware of these two kind of stoner-like comedians. I saw this one, absolutely thought it was hilarious, one of the best comedies I'd seen at the time, and then we went through the sequels, which weren't very good. I was talking to my friend Rob Hill, the Bad Movie Bible, and he said he could never find this on VHS. You could find the sequels, but not this film, which is very bizarre, because this is also the best one and the most popular one out of the kind of long-running kind of franchise. What worked for me about this film was that it was just, you know, a proper stoner film. It's very chilled. Nothing much really happens. He's got these Cheech and Chong kind of take this vehicle that is made out of basically weed, and they're getting tracked by the FBI or CIA or something like that, and just shenanigans occur. When they first meet up, Cheech and Chong, they have one has a massive joint and he smokes on it, and he's like, because he's trying to play out and trying to be cool, and he goes, "I could smoke this whole thing, man," and walk away. He hits it, and just woof, is super high. For me and my friends, we felt Cheech and Chong kind of perfectly captured what it's like to be stoned, you know, and that sort of seeing that on camera. Stoner comedies aren't for everyone, but there's a lot of great stuff in this. Really good comedic scenes, and this is kind of interesting story. It's nothing crazy. It's just a fun film, and it works really well. And you can see why they wanted to make sequels to try and capture what they did in this, but never quite succeeded in doing that. But yeah, it's nice to have it. Got it for about £6, and I don't think it's out on Blu-ray. Maybe it is. I've never stumbled across it, but yeah, it's good to revisit this movie. Next up, we have a special edition, and it's Independence Day, ID4. I saw this on eBay quite a lot in my youth when I started getting into LaserDisc, but it was always pricey, it was always sold in America, I couldn't get it in the UK. And I had the regular version, which is extremely common. Independence Day is, along with The Fugitive, Batman Forever and Speed. You can find them everywhere. So anyone tries to charge you £15 or £20 for those movies, no, they can jog on. They're worth like £2 or £3. This was always sold for quite maybe about £40, £50. And I was like, nah, I'll wait till maybe later down the line. Now I got it for like £8. No one was bidding on it on eBay. It comes with a bunch of extras which you can get on the DVD or see in the Blu-ray. Comes with a nice kind of gatefold cover. You can kind of see production notes. And this is also the extended cut. There's a few extended scenes. It highlights scenes in the White House, DEFCON 3, A Technical Kiss. That's a weird title for a chapter. Basically dialogue scenes that have been extended. Also you get the usual kind of, behind the scenes stuff you've already seen before. It's just nice to have this kind of, on the format. Not always desperately wanted it, I've always kind of like, I'll get that later down the line. And I did. It's a bit scuffed up, it's not in the best condition, but for £8 you can't really complain. Still a fun movie. It's a shame Roland Emmerich basically took the format of this film, the characters, and just kind of repeated that for a number of years. And he sort of lost the sort of credibility I think he once had. Last movie he did, was it Moonfall? It was so bad. But it was really entertaining. It's like bad. It's like bad good. So yeah, he's gone a bit batshit crazy with his latest films. But yeah, he never quite lived up to Independence Day, did he, with his other films? The Day After Tomorrow wasn't too bad. I quite like that film. Getting chased by global warming, which is so funny. Fun movie. And a nice special edition. The next two Laserdiscs I got from Japan, and one is an American Laserdisc, and it is Dawn of the Dead. This is the CAV box set special edition, which includes audio commentary, basically a new remaster, television spots, radio spots, the shooting script on screen you can flip through, and two alternative scenes from Dario Argento's Zombie. Now all these extras have been ported over to the DVD and Blu-ray and 4K over the years. I found this on a Japanese auction for like 2,000 yen. People charge like £80, £200 for this set. It's bonkers. I'll show you some close-ups of all the Laserdiscs so you can kind of see what it looks like inside. But yeah, I was really happy to see this because a friend of mine had bought this a number of years ago, And I was really impressed with the picture. I thought, oh, okay, I'll get some of these Elite Entertainment LaserDiscs. And I got Nightmare on Elm Street, Evil Dead 2, Maniac Cop. And I thought the picture on this was amazing. And going back to widescreen review, they didn't particularly like the transfer on this. They give like 2.5 out of 5. Again, like The Exorcist. I was like, that's really weird. And I thought the picture on this was great. When I bought Evil Dead 2 and Maniac Cop and Elm Street, those transfers didn't quite live up to what I'd seen with this. Don't know why. Dawn of the Dead is a classic movie, and having it on LaserDisc gives it that kind of like retro feel to it when you're watching it. When you watch the 4K, which is a wonderful 4K, it's so kind of clean. It's not like clean as in like DNR'd, but it just looks... I love the rough and readiness of Dawn of the Dead, and having it on a sort of analog format is always quite nifty, and it always kind of gives you those vibes of being perhaps in the early 90s, seeing it on tape and going, yeah, no, this film's awesome, and now we get to see it on a slightly improved picture but in widescreen. But yeah, it's nice to have this, and it's a great movie, as I said, and I was so happy I found it for peanuts. Now, the final LaserDisc, also from Japan, was remastered in 1998, also celebrating its 25th anniversary, and that is Enter the Dragon. Now this, along with The Exorcist, had not been banned, obviously, but they had scenes cut out in the UK with the nunchucks. The BBFC hated nunchucks, so this is the first time, really, most people could see it again in proper widescreen with those scenes restored. At the same time, I'd imported a tape from America to get the uncut version of Enter the Dragon. And then, not long after that, they'd released the 25th anniversary edition on VHS in the UK, and it came with soundtrack and lobby cards. Now in Japan, they also did the same thing, but included a lot more stuff. In America, they also put out the film on widescreen LaserDisc with a new 5.1 Dolby Digital soundtrack, and included an extra such as a trailer, behind-the-scenes featurette that was produced at the time, and Bruce Lee in his own words, I think maybe something else. Those extras also on this LaserDisc, but this one comes with some extra bonus kind of material, and basically lobby cards, a making-of book, 35mm film frame, and the soundtrack. So yeah, I'll show you close-ups of those things so you can kind of appreciate what's inside it. It's probably one of the best box sets I've come across on the format. There's probably maybe 2 other movies out there that have had something really special done for them. I mean, the extra content on the LaserDisc is nothing amazing. I mean, the previous release they put out on the format in '94 in Japan had 2 other documentaries which are a lot better. But just having the presentation and having that making of book where it's all in English, it's not in Japanese, was pretty cool to have. I've never seen that book before. Maybe it got published, maybe at the same time somewhere else, I don't know. Never seen it. So having all that put into one great package, and there's lobby cards and the soundtrack, which I already kind of own. I mean, this was mint condition. It's again like Dawn of the Dead. I paid like a couple of £1,000 for. Also, you're paying through the nose a little bit on postage. But having something as cool as this is a pretty nice thing to have in your collection. I think I own Enter Dragon just as many times as I own Superman the movie on a format. It's crazy. Maybe I don't own Enter Dragon on VHS anymore, but I've got it on LaserDisc, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, and multiple copy versions of it, like in certain box sets you've got the film again. I don't know, it's weird, isn't it? Enter Dragon is a masterpiece. I mean, it's just basically a James Bond rip-off with the plot and Bruce Lee just going into kick-ass, and he's proper mean in this movie. I always love the moment in the film. Obviously, the soundtrack itself is incredible, but like Bruce Lee, when he's in the base, he's got trying to escape, and he goes to the lift, he presses the button for the elevator, and he waits, and he turns around, so he's going, BAM! It's not the best kind of framing because it's all a bit of a close-up in a sort of 2:3:5:1 aspect ratio, but it kind of moves with Bruce and it gets everything in frame when he hits the opponents. And Bruce Lee, just the noise he makes, no one can replicate that. Yeah, it's just a one-of-a-kind voice, and it's just so cool to hear him do all that. That was always my favourite moment, and then seeing him sort of take Jackie Chan and go and break his neck, that was always cool. So I'm very happy to have that in my collection. Anyway folks, I hope you enjoyed the video. I may have another LaserDisc update video in future. I've got nothing I've got my eyes on at the moment. I may find something in the wild or something on eBay or something on Japanese auction and go, I want that. But at the moment, I'm kind of just like, nah, I'm just gonna take it easy for a bit. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care of yourselves, and goodbye for now. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to click the like button and hit the bell to be notified of my latest reviews. Big thanks to my patrons and YouTube members for supporting the channel. If you want to get involved and gain access to exclusive videos and take part in Q&As, follow the link below.